So Priscilla, pretty exciting news coming up. What's happening over the weekend?
The Revels, the Kilgore College Revels, which is fantastic. When I was here, we called it the Roundup, but now it's the Revels. And it's just progressed and gotten better and better every year. There's probably no Broadway production any better than the Revels.
Yeah, they go through a lot of work.
They really work hard, and they are so talented, and their leadership is outstanding. From the director, the co-director, the dance teacher, all of them. They are just completely outstanding.
And you would know because you were a Rangerette. But I guess you're always a Rangerette. What's a Rangerette, right?
Right, a Rangerette forever. And actually, I loved Rangerettes from the time I was 4 years old, and always wanted to be a Rangerette. My uncle, Denard Hayden, was the first choreographer. So he would come home, he would tell us things about the Rangerettes, and I would probably jump up and down like a kid saying, "What are the Rangerettes doing now?" And he would tell me. So I always wanted to be a Rangerette. Well, as it would happen, in the summers, some of the Rangerettes would get married. So the junior year of my high school, Gussie now called my mother, and she said, "Would you let Prissy go to Chicago with the Rangerettes?" And my mother said, "Oh, heavens, yes." And she said, "Well, she needs to come up here. I know she's a dancer. I've seen her dance, but I need her to audition." So I came up here as a junior in high school. I auditioned, and so I traveled with the Rangerettes to Chicago and performed at Soldier Field when I was a junior. Then my senior year in high school, the same thing happened, and I was in the movie Seven Wonders of the World as a senior in high school. So then I come to Kilgore to try out, but still, I'm not so sure, and I call my mother, "Oh, I hope I make Rangerettes. I hope I make Rangerettes." And I did, and I was a lieutenant my freshman year. And then I was captain my second year. So that was a wonderful thing for me, wonderful. So then Mr. Hayden had the very first dance and drill team camp in 1950. And I went there every summer as a counselor. Well, after I was a Rangerette, I taught there. Then I taught at the American Drill Team School in Dallas at SMU. Mr. Hayden and I started drill team camps and clinics. And so I traveled with Gussie Nell and Mr. Hayden all over everywhere and did a lot of fun things with them that were not pertaining to Rangerettes, going to shows and dinners and all that. So that was a lot of fun. And then
that whole experience sort of springboarded you into a career, didn't it?
It did. Yeah. It did. So I was teaching at the SMU drill team camp, American Drill Team School, but it was at SMU. And I was a dance teacher. In fact, I had my first business when I was 13, a dance studio, top dancing. Okay. So I was at SMU, and Dr. Drybrote was the director, founder and director, and so I called him and I said, after I left, everybody called me and they said, "Where did you get your Caliphone record player? Where did you get this? Where did you get that?" And I said, "I have been calling people. I've been helping all these drill team directors. Don't you think that could be a business?" And he said, "Well, yes, I surely do." I said, "Well, could my parents come up and man a booth at the drill team camp?" He said, "Sure." So my mother and daddy went up and they manned the booth. So then I started the first drill team supply business ever, the very first. And
what year was that?
Probably in the early 60s, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
I should have that information, but I don't. Okay, so I started the first drill team supply business. Okay. Well, I was still teaching every summer and during the week and all that. In fact, my daughter said one time, "Mother, could you have a drill team camp in Washington, D.C. so we could go there?" Because that was the only vacations we ever had because I was teaching all over everywhere. But all these drill teams, when I would go, they couldn't get their pom-poms up on the right count. And so my husband was a football coach in Texas City. And I told him, I said, "I think we could do something with that. Let's start experimenting." So we started experimenting to get a lighter weight pom. So when I was teaching, they could get their pom-poms up on the right count. So we came up with the poms. So Then I told my husband, you're going to go into business with me, okay? And he said yes. So we had Drill Team Supply to begin with, and we developed this lighter weight palm. I ended up selling that business, but then my husband and I started a manufacturing company. And so it's Pepco Promotional. And now we're the largest manufacturer of pom-poms in the world. And we manufacture over 100 different styles. We're the only manufacturer of the large megaphones for cheerleaders. So we started out with the poms, but that wasn't really enough to sustain us. So now we have every kind of product known to man. If you see the number one finger at a ball game, the foam finger, that's us. If you see pennants, banners, posters, just everything like that in the sport industry. We also have all the large poms for the cheerleaders, the drill teams, and also we work with different directors to develop a different pom for them. We do custom things, very customized with what we do. And so we do promotional products, and we do a lot of trade shows. In fact, one year, my husband and I did 38 trade shows.
Wow.
And we went to Munich, Germany for 10 years, Puerto Rico twice a year, all over the United States. And I have a map in the conference room with all the places that we've been to promote our products. So
as far as spirit, you are number one.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, it kind of sounds like it to me.
Oh, goodness.
So
So anyway, now we have Pepco Promotional, Pepco Poms, Pepco Sports. And you can go online and you can see that. You can also ask if it's a business owned by a woman, which it will tell you my story and how I started with the lightweight poms that we came up with. And so you can access all our products online. You
Wow,
know.
that's great.
So-
So you ended up doing pretty well for yourself.
Well, I say that I owe everything to Rangerettes. I really do. I just owe everything to Rangerettes because, well, a business was developed from it. I never stopped doing what I had learned as a Rangerette. I was even here when I was teaching clinics, camps, so forth and so on. Then I started into the products, and then we started our factory. And we employ about 150 people, and we've been in business 52 years, and I'm the whole ball of wax right now. My husband he passed away. My son he passed away. And I was always on board, but I am the head of it now. My son-in-law is the general manager, and my daughter works for us. She had worked for Wharton Junior College as a student recruiter, and she retired and came back to work for us. So it's a woman-owned business, but it's operated by our family, and it's a family-owned business. And we pride ourselves in saying made in the USA, because every product that goes out of our factory is made in our factory. So made in the USA is our motto, in which I love that.
Wow.
And my son always loved an American flag, wanted a big one out in front of our office. So this past year, we erected, a huge American flag in front of our building, and we call it Jeff's flag. That was his name. And so that ties in with Made in the USA, because that's our motto. And I'm very proud to be able to say that.
Wow, that's great.
And-
And then I guess you heard about this studio being remodeled.
Okay, so that leads me to last year for Revels. I came up and I wanted to meet Merlin Holmes. She's the executive director of the foundation. So I went in to meet her, and I sat down and I said, I have some scholarships I want to here at Kilgore. I want to discuss them, but I want to give back to Kilgore, Kilgore College and the Rangerettes, because they've done so much for me. So Merlin said, well, and I said, and another thing is I want people to remember Mr. Hayden, because he was the first choreographer of the Rangerettes. And she said, well, I have the perfect idea. The studio needs to be remodeled. Would you like to do that? And I said, I would love to do that, because I'm from a dance background, dance studio for 25 years, grew up in a dance school, and I know the dance program is so important to the Rangerettes. That helps them be what they are. So I said, oh, I would love to do that. I would love to do it. So I credit Merlin Holmes with at the foundation board. I credit her with this idea. And she went to work and she got contractors. She found somebody that would do floors, somebody that would do this, because I wasn't here. And so she put it all together. So I really credit her for that. I really do. And so Angela has been so excited about it, and I know that Dana and Shelley are too. They're a great threesome. They have just gone gung-ho with the Rangerettes. They make them better and better every year. I couldn't be prouder of all three of them. And as I said, I entered Kilgore College 70 years ago this fall, and I still love Rangerettes as much today as I did then. And kind of the icing on the cake is tomorrow is my 88th birthday, and what a better way to celebrate than to celebrate the Rangerettes, the Rebels, and the wonderful dance studio.
Don't you feel guilty buying a birthday gift for yourself?
Oh, no, not at all, because it's a great gift. It's a great gift. And it was funny, when I met Merlin, I said, you know, I just met with my financial advisor, and he says, you live, you give, and you leave. And I said, you know, I want to give while I'm still living. I want to see people happy with what I can do. So my motto is give. And my son always had the thing, I want to give back to make a difference. And so that's another thing. I want to give back to make a difference. And our company does that too. This past year we gave to the hurricane victims in North Carolina. So every year we give back to something, you know, that someone that needs something. And I am so thrilled about this studio. I just couldn't be happier. And it is a great birthday present, but also a great one to this person right here, who I want to explain this. I want to explain this to you.
Sure.
Okay? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Moved away. Mr. Hayden was the original choreographer of the Rangerettes, and he took dance from the stage to the football field. He developed the technology, the terminology, and everything. And when Miss Davis was hired, she went to his dance studio in 1940, and he taught her the dances to go back and teach the Rangerettes. So he worked with her from day one. Then he was drafted and went to World War II. He was gone a while, came back, and she said, you know, you need to be on staff. You need to be called the choreographer, because that's what you are. So then in 1947, he was officially named the choreographer. So for over 30 years, they are really close to 40, they worked together hand in hand to develop what we see now. I mean, it's progressed, it's a little different, but that was the basis for it. And so I give him credit, a lot of credit for that. And I wanted him to be remembered. You know, history's important. We need to know what our ancestors have left us. And, you know, some of the people are known and some aren't. And these girls right here today, they benefit from what he left or what he developed. And I wanted them to know that. And so I wanted him to be recognized, received, and honored. And so also, you know, we talked about the history. So when I left here last April, I went back home and got out all these boxes with pictures. And I was amazed at what I found, amazed at what I didn't find that I thought I had, but amazed at what I found, and put together a history of Mr. Hayden. And he not only was the first choreographer here, I may have said this, but he started the very first drill team and dance camp in 1950. And it was the very first one, and now there are lots of camps and clinics and things like that, you know. So anyway, and then there's another little thing that's kind of interesting. Betty Longacre is the dorm mom, okay? So when I was teaching, I organized some drill teams. And I organized the North Shore drill team in Houston. And she was in that drill team. So a few years ago, I was up here and we connected, and she told me the story. Well, I was in the drill team that you organized. I went, oh my word. So then it kind of goes full circle. I have to tell this because she was in this drill team that I organized, but now she's here as the dorm mother, but her daughter is a choreographer and my uncle was the first choreographer. So it's kind of an interesting little story, I think. So I was real thrilled to hear that. And I organized the drill team at Ole Miss and McConnell High School in Galveston, and a few others. So anyway, I stayed real active in the drill team business. And I was the first president of Rangerettes Forever. My daughter and I had the distinction of being the only mother-daughter captains. And so when my daughter came here at Kilgore, she had Gussie Nell for her first year and Dina Bolton for her second year. So she got the experience of both of them, and I was so glad that she did have Gussie Nell that first year. And so when she was here, we were discussing all the possibilities and everything. And so Rangerettes Forever developed from all of Ms. Hale's work. And so it was a real interesting time to see that come forward, and it's such a big thing now. Everybody, Rangerettes Forever, they're still so involved. Really, I don't mean to mention names like A&M or something, but I think the camaraderie here is even better than any other school. I mean, like it is, once a Rangerette, always a Rangerette, Rangerettes Forever. That's really a true thing.
Well, so I guess as far as you donating, making your donations, it was Kilgore College's turn, wasn't it?
It sure was. It was to give back to them because they've given so much to me. They really have. And I would like to tell you a little bit about this, but I don't know if I can move or not. Can you move the camera?
We'll just keep talking right here, and we'll get some pictures in a minute.
Oh, okay. Let's see, what else would we?
Well,
I stay active in the business, so I kind of know what drill teams are doing. Over the past years, I've been so busy with my business trying to get it developed that I haven't been able to be at Kilgore or be as active with the Rangerettes as I would like to. So now maybe at 88, maybe my business is developed after 52 years. Maybe I'll have a little time to come up here a little bit more and be more involved, because when you get here, you just get accelerated. It's just so exciting to see the Rangerettes, and they're so happy, and they're enjoying everything so much. And it's just such a short period. It should be a 4-year college, because 2 years go by so fast. They really do go by way too fast. So let me just say, I love Rangerettes as much today as I've ever loved them. It's just a very exciting experience that you have when you're a Rangerette, and it carries through. And a lot of people think, oh, it's the performance on the football field. Well, that's really the icing on the cake. But and I know it's still true today, it's so much more. It's Miss Davis would have us be in beauty pageants, not to win, but to be able to present ourselves, to be able to speak on our feet. And so she taught me into being in the Miss Kilgore pageant. And I knew my parents wouldn't really approve. So I didn't tell them. But anyway, I didn't think I'd win, but I went on and I was in it. Well, I won Miss Kilgore. So, and I'm from Nacogdoches. I was born in Kilgore, lived here until I was 10 months old. My daddy was the manager of the theaters here.
And at 10 months old, you just had it with Kilgore and had to go somewhere else.
Well, not really. But anyway, so we moved to Nacogdoches, and so the Miss Kilgore pageant was on Thursday night. And so on Saturday morning, my parents called me because it came out in the Daily Sentinel in Nacogdoches, and it was on the front page that I was Miss Kilgore. And they went, "We didn't know you were Miss Kilgore." So also, while I was here, I don't know if they still have it or not, but I won the college talent, the Kilgore College talent show. Okay. So then I went to the state, and it was held at A&M, and all the A&M, they had A&M talent, they had TCU, SMU, UT, all that. I competed against all of those schools, and I won. When I went to Miss Texas pageant, I won the talent there. And all that is a result of Mr. Hayden's teaching, and also of the Rangerettes, because through Rangerettes I was able to present myself, I was able to have the confidence to do it. And so Rangerettes is a lot more than just performing. That's just the icing on the cake. It's just the fun part. but you learn so much more that carries through for the rest of your life. The confidence that you can do it. And I said I had 3 mentors. I had my mother. She always said, you can do it. You can do it. And so I said, well, okay, I can. Okay. And then Mr. Hayden taught me all the dancing and encouraged me with Rangerettes. And then when I got to Kilgore, Miss Davis just pushed me and taught me confidence, taught me that I could do anything that I set out to do, and that has carried through the rest of my life. So,
well, this is a very interesting interview, and I hate it that you're so shy.
as I said, I wasn't prepared, but but I could keep talking forever, probably, especially about Rangerettes, you know.
Well, you have quite a story, and that's I just find it fascinating that something you love so much propelled you into a company.
I know it.
You know?
I know it. It's just remarkable. It really is. But I never gave up with the love for performing and the products that bring forth for drill teams, cheerleaders, and all that. So yes, it's remarkable. And as I said, I thank Kilgore College and Rangerettes every day of my life for what they've done for me.
That's great. And so your last name is pronounced again?
Sliva.
Sliva, like a shirt sleeve.
Like Sliva. And I taught first grade one time, and I told my student, think about your sleeve and say Sliva. Well, for 6 weeks, I was Mrs. Sleeve. I couldn't get that second syllable.
I'm
but
surprised
it means
you weren't
plump.
Mrs. Shirt.
I know it. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. That would have been funny. But anyway, so it means plum in Czech. So, it'd been a lot easier to become Miss Plum.
Well,
but everybody calls me Prissy, so.
There you go. Well, I'd just like to say one more thing. Yes, Miss Sliva. Thank you, Miss Sliva.
Thank you very much.